Welcome back to the deep dive. So have you ever been part of a company that kicks off a lean initiative? Lots of energy, maybe some quick wins early on.
Oh, yeah, the initial excitement.
Exactly. But then somehow it just stalls. The momentum fades, maybe things even slide back. It's that flatline transformation, and it's honestly pretty heartbreaking to see.
It really is. And it's not just you. It's incredibly common, almost the default outcome, sadly.
Yeah.
Companies get really good at grabbing the lean tools, the terminology,
Right, the easy stuff.
but sustaining the actual culture, that's where most fall down. And that's exactly what we're diving into today, using a fantastic resource. The book Flatlined, Why Lean Transformations Fail and What to Do About It by Mark C. DeLucio.
Okay, Mark DeLuzio. We should probably establish his credentials right off the bat, because this isn't just theory, is it?
Not at all. This is straight from the trenches. DeLucio is, well, he's a giant in this field. He was the principal architect behind the Danaher business system, DBS.
Legendary stuff. That system basically built Danaher into what it is today.
Absolutely a global powerhouse. And crucially for this discussion, he's also known as the father of lean accounting in the U.S. We're talking over 30 years of hands-on experience. This book is built on, hard-won reality.
And that reality, the picture he paints, it's pretty stark, isn't it? He has this statistic about success rates.
It's brutal, yeah. Think about all the companies globally that announce, we're starting our lean journey. DeLuzio cites the generally accepted numbers.
Which are?
Only about 5 to 7% actually make it, actually become a true, sustainable, lean enterprise.
Wow, so 93% flatline.
They flatline, they stall out. It's a shocking failure rate when you think about the resources poured into these initiatives.
Okay, so why? Why do the vast majority fail? DeLuzio breaks it down into 4 main reasons, right?
He does, and they're all kind of interconnected. First, companies treat lean like a short-term tactical tool, usually just for cutting costs quickly.
The quick fix mentality.
Exactly. Second, the lean stuff never gets properly linked up with the company's overall long-term strategy. It just floats off on its own.
Disconnected.
Okay. Third, the focus stays on optimizing little bits, a single department, one function, instead of looking at the whole enterprise flow end to end.
Silo thinking.
Yep. And fourth, and this is huge, senior leadership stays hands-off. They delegate it, they approve the budget maybe, but they don't fundamentally change how they lead or embrace the core principles themselves.
Got it. So our mission today is to unpack DeLuzio's answer to his 5-step solution to actually get these transformations off life support.
That's the plan. Let's get into it.
All right, so the 5 steps he lays out are: shift the mindset, default to the basics, align with strategy, make lean an enterprise endeavor, and evolve the culture. Let's start with that first one, shift in the mindset. That sounds like a big, fuzzy obstacle.
It is, and it's absolutely step one for a reason. Nothing else works without it. The biggest psychological block DeLuzio tackles is what he calls the we're different syndrome.
I think I know where this is going. Lean is great for Toyota making cars, but we make software provide services deal with widgets.
You nailed it. That's the executive chorus. The insistence that these universal principles somehow don't apply to their unique, oh-so-complex business.
Is DeLuzio saying that's basically an excuse, a way to avoid the hard work?
It's precisely that. It's inertia disguised as uniqueness. He tells this great story about a company Danaher acquired. The president was adamant, swore up and down that DBS wouldn't work for them. We're special, he said.
Okay, and how were they doing?
Their operating profit was 4%. The average for Danaher's other businesses at the time, 17%.
Ouch.
Yeah. DeLuzio's killer line is, by clinging to that we're different belief, your company is actually perfectly engineered to realize the results you've recently achieved. If you want different results, you have to change the engineering.
That's sharp.
Yeah.
Okay, so breaking that we're different barrier is step 1. What's the next mindset shift needed? He talks about the lean trilogy.
Right, this is crucial. You have to balance the needs of 3 primary stakeholders. The employee, the customer, and the shareholder. They need to be in a sort of dynamic equilibrium.
And the common mistake is focusing only on
The shareholder, usually through immediate cost-cutting, which often translates directly to headcount reductions, layoffs.
right. And if you teach your employees that getting better at their job, improving a process, means they or their colleagues might get fired.
Well, why would they ever help you improve anything again? You've just killed engagement. They'll actively resist.
There's a famous counterexample to this, isn't there? Art Byrne at Wire Mold.
Yes, a classic. Byrne instituted a firm no-layoff policy specifically tied to lean improvements if efficiency gains freed up people.
They weren't shown the door.
Nope. They were reassigned, retrained, maybe moved into new roles created by the growth that lean enabled. It sends a powerful message. This is about growth, about creating capacity, winning market share, not just slashing costs.
That changes the whole game. And thinking about that growth focus and avoiding counterproductive cuts, it brings up metrics, doesn't it? Especially financial ones. Your area lean accounting.
Absolutely. Because traditional accounting is often the enemy of lean. Things like absorption variance, focusing heavily on machine utilization. These standard metrics actively encourage wasteful behavior.
Like building inventory just to make the numbers look good.
Exactly. It drives Miri and Muda. Lean accounting, on the other hand, focuses on things like value stream costing. It makes the real savings transparent, the ones that actually improve cash flow and the bottom line, instead of hiding waste behind misleading efficiency numbers. If you don't fix the scorecard, Deluzio argues, you're pretty much guaranteed to flatline.
Speaking of scorecards and maybe getting things wrong, let's talk about Lean versus Six Sigma. For a long time, especially with GE's influence, the market kind of positioned Six Sigma as the successor, the more sophisticated version of Lean.
And that's a fundamental misunderstanding that Deluzio sees derailing transformations all the time.
So what's the correct relationship?
Six Sigma is a powerful set of statistical tools. It's excellent for tackling specific problems, usually related to quality variation, but it fits under the Lean umbrella. It's a tool within the Lean system, not a replacement for the system.
Okay.
He gives this example from GE Money. They had Six Sigma black belts working hard to reduce the processing time for a single transaction from, say, 60 minutes down to 58 minutes. Tiny gains.
Right, focusing on optimizing that one step.
But they were completely ignoring the fact that the total lead time for that entire process, end-to-end, was 63 days.
Whoa! So the 2 minutes didn't matter much in the grand scheme of things.
Not at all. A lean approach, using something like value stream mapping, looked at the whole flow and asked, why does it take 63 days? Is this whole process necessary? How can we simplify the flow?
And the result?
They got that lead time down from 63 days to 1 day. 1 day. The financial impact was massive, something like $216 million in the first year. Lean asked the bigger questions first. Should we even be doing this activity? Six Sigma often jumps straight to, how can we do this potentially unnecessary thing perfectly?
That distinction is critical.
Yeah.
Which leads us nicely into Deluzio's step 2, defaulting to the basics. He talks about fake lean.
Yeah, the superficial stuff. You see the posters, the 5S shadow boards, maybe some yellow tape on the floor.
Looks good, feels like progress.
But there's no real change underneath. No mastery of the actual foundations of the Toyota production system, TPS.
Okay, so what are those core foundations we need to default back to?
He boils it down to 3 foundational elements and 2 pillars. The foundation starts with Haijunka.
Level scheduling.
Yeah.
Smoothing out the workload.
Exactly. You can't standardize chaos. So first, level the demand. Only then can you effectively establish standard work defining the current one best way to do the job for that stable workload.
Okay, level the work, define the standard.
And then you can practice KAIZEN, continuous improvement, because you have a stable, defined baseline to improve from. That's the foundation.
And the pillars supporting the structure.
Just in time, JIT, making only what's needed when it's needed, in the amount needed. And the often misunderstood Jidoka.
Automation with a human touch. Automation.
Right. Building quality in. Machines that can detect an abnormality and stop themselves, alerting humans to fix the root cause, preventing defects from flowing downstream. Those are the basics you must master.
And guiding decisions within that system, there's a clear hierarchy, right? SQDC.
Yes. Safety, quality, delivery, and then cost, in that strict order.
Safety first, always.
Yeah.
Then quality, then delivering on time. Cost is last.
Cost is an outcome of doing the first 3 well. It's not the primary driver. If you're ever unsure about a decision, that SQDC hierarchy should be your guide.
But how do you get managers who are under immense pressure for cost savings to actually live by that, to prioritize S, Q, and D over C?
Deluzio argues you need to connect it back to common sense, the logic people use in their everyday lives but somehow forget at work.
Okay.
He tells this story about a CFO who insisted on machine efficiency and utilization as key metrics across all their plants.
A very common metric. Maximize uptime.
Right. So what happened? Plant managers kept the machines running constantly, churning out product nobody needed just to hit that utilization target. They ended up with millions of dollars in obsolete inventory. Die changes were discouraged because that meant downtime, hurting the metric. Pure waste, driven by the metric.
So how did DeLuzio challenge that?
He asked the CFO, do you own an expensive car? The CFO said yes. Okay, do you drive it around the block 100 times every night just to achieve high utilization of your expensive asset?
Of course not.
Exactly. The CFO got it immediately. In your personal life, you use things when you need them. That simple logic needs to apply in business too. Produce to demand, not to keep machines busy. But bad metrics force bad behavior.
That makes perfect sense. So you get the basics right, you get SQDC right on the shop floor. But DeLuzio points out that perfecting one little area, what he calls a point Kaizen, isn't enough, right?
Not even close. Fixing one machine or one cell is great, but it won't transform the company. That leads to step 4, making lean an enterprise endeavor. You have to zoom out.
From point Kaizen to enterprise Kaizen.
Exactly. Aiming at changing the systemic traditional behaviors across all functions. And the main tool for this is value stream management, or VSM.
Okay, define VSM for us in this context.
It means identifying and grouping all the processes, cutting across traditional departments that are needed to bring a product family or service from its raw state all the way to the customer.
So breaking down the silos.
Completely. Instead of having a VP of sales over here, VP of manufacturing over there, VP of engineering somewhere else, all with their own goals, you restructure around these customer-focused value streams. Each value stream acts almost like a mini company within a company, responsible for its own flow, quality, delivery, and cost.
And doing VSM helps you see different kinds of waste, doesn't it? Not just the stuff on the factory floor.
Precisely. We all know about MUDA, the classic 7 or 8 types of operational waste, like waiting, defects, overproduction.
That's where most people focus.
Right. But DeLuzio emphasizes that leaders need to look higher up, at Mira and Miri.
Unevenness and overburden.
Exactly. Mira is the unevenness, the variability often created by management policies. Miri is the overburden placed on people and equipment as a result of that Mira, or just poor planning. And crucially, most of the frontline MUDA people are fighting is actually caused by Mira and Miri generated by management decisions.
Can you give an example of management causing Mira and Miri?
The classic hockey stick effect in sales is a perfect one. The sales team has quarterly targets, right? So what do? They offer huge discounts in the last 2 weeks of the quarter to pull orders in and hit their numbers.
Right, seen that happen.
So maybe 70% of the quarter's volume gets booked in those last 2 weeks. That massive artificial surge is Mira unevenness. And what does it do to manufacturing or logistics or engineering?
Creates chaos. Overburden. Miri.
Total Miri. Forced overtime, rush work, quality shortcuts, stress, burnout. All because of a sales incentive policy, a management decision focused on hitting a functional target, completely ignoring the downstream consequences for the enterprise. Fixing Mira and Miri is leadership work.
Which flows perfectly into the next critical piece, step 3, aligning lean with strategy. Just doing improvement activities isn't enough. It has to connect to the big picture.
It has to be Kaizen with a purpose, as DeLuzio puts it. Otherwise, you get pockets of improvement that don't really move the needle on what matters most to the business.
So how do you create that purpose, that connection?
Through strategy deployment, also known as Hoshin Kanri. This is the formal process for translating the company's few critical long-term strategic objectives, the breakthrough goals, into concrete actions and targets throughout the organization.
So it cascades the strategy down.
It cascades it down and ensures alignment back up. The goal is that maybe 60–70% of all the Kaizen activity happening day to day is directly contributing to achieving one of those 3 or 4 big strategic breakthroughs.
Okay, so it provides focus. Can you give a real-world example of linking a specific lean tool to a strategic goal like that?
Yeah, the Jake Break example DeLuzio uses is excellent. Their big strategic goal was to break into the Japanese heavy truck market. Big challenge.
Tough competitors there, like Hino and Mitsubishi.
Exactly. And those competitors had an 18-month new product development cycle, Jake Break's cycle, 72 months.
Whoa! 4 times as long? No way they could compete like that?
Right. So speed to market became a critical strategic imperative. They dug into why it took so long. One major bottleneck they found was in their engine test of the lab. The changeover time between testing different engine configurations was 3 weeks.
3 weeks just to switch setups.
Crazy, right? So what did? They took SMED, single-minute exchange of die, a classic manufacturing tool designed to reduce machine setup times.
And applied it in the engine lab.
Precisely. They used SMED principles to attack that lab change over time and slashed it from 3 weeks down to 1 day.
Yeah.
That directly enabled them to accelerate their overall development cycle and attack that strategic goal of competing on time to market. That's linking a tool to a strategic purpose.
That's a fantastic illustration, linking tactics to strategy. And that kind of strategic thinking, that enterprise view, really relies on step 5, doesn't it? Evolving the culture.
It's arguably the hardest part and the most essential for sustainability. Former Danaher CEO Larry Culp had a great quote, "Delucio shares. The Danaher business system is our culture."
Meaning it's not a program, not an initiative. It's just how things are done, how people think.
Exactly. It has to be deeply internalized, and that starts at the very top. Leadership must model the behaviors. Delucio references Fujio Cho, former Toyota chairman, and his 3 keys for lean leaders. You remember them.
Go see, ask why, show respect.
That's it. 1, go see, get out of the office, go to the Gemba, the place where the actual work happens, and observe reality. 2, ask why repeatedly, like the 5 whys, to get to the root cause of problems. Don't just put Band-Aids on symptoms. And 3, show respect.
And respect here isn't just about being polite, is it?
No, it's deeper. It means respecting people enough not to let them struggle with broken, wasteful processes day after day. It means empowering them and actively removing the mira and miri that cause them frustration and overburden. That's true respect in a lean context.
But even with leadership trying to model this, there's always resistance, right? Delucio mentions naysayers.
Oh, yeah. He estimates maybe 10% of any organization, and sometimes they're sitting right there in the C-suite, will actively resist the change.
And what is their main weapon?
The status quo. Inertia. The phrase, "that's the way we've always done it around here."
The improvement killer.
Absolutely.
Right.
He uses the monkey fable analogy, how learned behaviors, even nonsensical ones, get passed down and enforced just because it's policy. And there's this painful case study of a fire hydrant manufacturer.
Oh yeah, the cure time ones.
That's the one. They had a decades-old policy stating their truck boxes needed a 48-hour cure time after painting. 48 hours. It was just accepted. That's the rule.
Until someone finally asked why.
Right. When someone finally challenged it and they actually tested it, they found the paint was fully cured and ready in 20 minutes.
20 minutes versus 48 hours. For 10 years.
Think of the waste, the space, the lead time, the inventory, all because nobody challenged the status quo. Delucio says leaders must cultivate a healthy dissatisfaction with the status quo. Always question why things are done the way they are.
Okay, so pulling it all together, if you look at Delucio's whole argument in Flatlined, the core message seems to be you have to be lean, not just do lean.
That sums it up perfectly. It's about internalizing the principles, applying the thinking consistently, not just going through the motions or checking boxes on a lean activity list.
And sometimes companies that look successful on the surface are the worst offenders.
Definitely. He shares this damning story about one plant within a huge $13 billion global company. This plant was the most profitable in the entire organization. Their report showed inventory turns soaring, like from 6.5 times a year up to 18 times. Looked amazing on paper.
Sounds like a lean success story.
Except it was completely fake. What had they actually done? They shifted about 70% of their raw materials inventory onto consignment agreements with their suppliers.
Ah, so it wasn't technically on their books anymore.
Exactly. It didn't count towards their inventory turn calculation. But the physical inventory was still there. They actually had to expand their warehouse to hold all this extra consignment stock they weren't really managing well. They were masters of reporting lean metrics, gaming the system, but they were completely failing at being lean.
Wow. That just highlights how traditional metrics can drive completely the wrong behavior, even in a supposedly successful place.
It's a huge indictment. And it puts the responsibility squarely back on leadership. You have to look in the mirror. You can't expect your CFO to give up metrics like absorption variance or your VP of sales to start chasing hockey stick forecasts and focus on smoothing actual customer demand.
Unless the senior team is willing to change their own deeply ingrained traditional ways of running the business first.
They are the primary source of the mira and miri. They have to lead the change by changing themselves. It's the hardest work there is.
It's interesting, too. Delucio makes this point about how lean folks themselves sometimes seem almost embarrassed by financial success, like talking about profits somehow taints the purity of the process focus.
Yeah, they shy away from it. They focus on waste elimination, flow, respect for people, all critical. But they hesitate to trumpet the massive financial gains, the wealth creation that comes from truly eliminating systemic waste.
Okay, so building on that, here's a final thought, a challenge maybe for you listening, based on everything we've dug into from Flatlined. If you truly commit to this, if you focus relentlessly on the process, SQDC, VSM, the basics, aligning with strategy, building the culture, and as a result, you achieve phenomenal financial success that blows your competitors away.
Which is often the outcome of doing lean well.
Will you be willing to embrace that? To openly communicate and celebrate that financial success as proof of your lean maturity? Or will you fall into that trap of being somehow embarrassed by the very profitability that should define a truly successful, sustained lean enterprise?
That's a tough question, and maybe the ultimate test of whether a company is just doing lean or truly being lean.
Something to think about.
Oh,
Thanks for diving deep into Flatlined with us today, exploring why transformations fail and, more importantly, how to make them succeed.
great discussion. Lots to chew on there.
Absolutely. We'll catch you next time on The Deep Dive.